Start your wellness journey at Whole Foods Market, where it's Jumpstart January through the 16th. Stock up on supplements with some of the year's biggest savings. Plus, save on air-chilled organic boneless skinless chicken breasts, organic Honeycrisp apples, organic large Hass avocados, and more. And since Whole Foods Market is the only certified organic national grocer, it's easy to make them your wellness destination. Jumpstart your January now at Whole Foods Market.
This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. In breaking news, leading scientists worldwide are conducting experiments to determine if Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolate. However, it appears the study was inconclusive, as the scientists couldn't help but eat all the Reese's. Because when you want something sweet, you can't do better than Reese's. Find Reese's now at a store near you.
This is Central Texas Living with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ann Harder. Welcome to Central Texas Living, the podcast. Today, we're going to hear about an exciting new way to help our many neighbors who are in need. Shepherd's Heart Food Pantry exists to meet poverty and hunger head on and change it. Joining me now is its executive director, Bob Gager. Now, Bob, you were here about 5 months ago with one of your wonderful sponsors, Claire McDonald of Bird Culture Ford, and you're about to give away that amazing orange Mustang convertible. It was so much fun to help raise money.
That was fun.
For Shepherd's Heart. It was just a great time, and we were just a matter of months into the pandemic and its resulting economic devastation, and now that many months later, the problem is very much still with us.
It's not going away. We don't see this going away for a long time. We may be in this kind of a mode in what we do for the next couple of years. We just don't see it disappearing, because where I get my information from is part of it is from what the food bank's system is. Mm-hmm. And so their system is designed to do what we've been doing this past year. The past year, we learned how to provide food to people in a drive-through method, and every one of the food banks or food pantries in the 22 county area that the Central Texas Food Bank serves were all in drive-through mode, and they don't see that changing for at least a year.
Yeah, because the classical model is people would go to a food bank, and yours is there on 34th and Bosque, and they would come and shop like at a grocery store.
Yes. And we set it up so that it would be an uplifting arrangement, because I already knew what some food banks or food pantries were like. You just go there and they give you a bag of groceries. You don't know what you're going to get. And some of the food pantries, I helped start a couple of them in churches. We just gave them what we could, and sometimes like not much, not really
just
much
whatever
at
you
all.
had.
Yeah. And so what we wanted to do with the model that we had was to make it look like a miniature HEB.
Yeah.
And we did that, and people just loved it.
Well, and you're one of several food banks in Central Texas, but your numbers are just stunning.
Well, we just rang the bells all through the year last year. Mm-hmm. We served 41,533 families. That's almost 92,000 people. And we never expected to do that. We just kept pouring it on. Every week, we were seeing, especially from the months of about May through, I want to say September, October, somewhere in there, we were serving 1,000 families a week. And it was just over and over and over. The line just wouldn't go away. And as we did that, we learned how to do things in assembly line methods to create the packaging and be able to accommodate those needs. We had to learn how to mass produce everything.
Really?
So that we could put it in their cars and minimize contact.
The whole idea was to try to keep the spread of the virus, from going rampant.
We saw people coming at us from about 7 or 8 different counties.
Oh, my goodness.
All around us, yes. And it wasn't just Waco, we were serving a lot of area. But in the counties near here, Mahia, I'm not trying to pick on Mahia, but they've got a couple of pantries over there, but they're not as big as we are, not as strong of the food that they can get out. And that's the way it is in some of the other areas around us. They just don't have the resources. And we've been blessed. We have been very blessed. We're a faith-based food pantry. I don't get any government money. We live by the donations that we get from the community. And we live in a very generous community. That's what I think. We've been able to, every time we've needed to elevate what we do, the resources have been there for us. And so we're impressed to be blessed as we are in this community.
Now, you tell me you have seen situations, though, in this drive-by model now where you folks would come and you would just put the groceries in the car. There were so many people in the car.
Oh, yeah.
There was no room to put the groceries.
That was heartbreaking to see that kind of stuff because if it's a car that's big enough, that's fine. But these were small cars that didn't have enough room to really fit the people. And we're piling groceries on them. I mean, that had to have been an uncomfortable ride, but it was the only way we could get the food in the car. And sometimes we couldn't give all the food that we wanted to because there just wasn't any place to put it. Yeah, that is one of the things that triggered our thought process about how are we going to do this going forward? What can we do to make this better? And that's where we came up with the idea of going mobile. In the past, from time to time, we have gone into some of the low-income apartment areas, and we take food in there. Before, we used to get an abundance of food, and we have a lot of produce left over, and we take that along with other things with us, and we would be able to distribute that in about an hour in some of these apartment districts. And so that put us in a mindset of, what if we went mobile? And that's where we started focusing our attention. And my board said, Bobby, come up with some crazy ideas once in a while, but we're not so sure about this one. But it makes sense. It made sense to them. It made sense to our staff. And so they said, let's do this. And so we're doing it. The wonderful thing about it is a couple of weeks ago, when we were doing a couple of preliminary runs just to work the bugs out of if we had any.
So you're taking the food to the people.
To the people. We've got 14 sites set up.
14?
All over the area. We'll be in Belmead. We'll be in East Waco. We'll be in North Waco and in South Waco, in a variety of sections of the community that are typically high needs areas. Mm-hmm. And what we found a couple weeks ago is that we were distributing food. We had 87 new families in that area. It's like, what? That's people have never been to our pantry in 12 years, and this is our 12th year. But in all that time, they've never been to our pantry because our records go all the way back.
Yeah, so you know who you're serving.
Yeah, we've had continuity with the same intake program. Mm-hmm. And I expected when we got into these areas, because I kind of drove around, I knew something about Waco several years ago, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I'm not sure, time flies when you're having fun. But Baylor Social School, they did a study on the food desert areas in this community. And it was a very thorough study. And what they found is there's 50,000 people living in food desert areas. What that means is the only thing that's within walking distance is maybe a convenience store or perhaps a dollar store. Since that time, I've seen a lot of dollar stores open up.
There have been a lot.
Yes, but at that time of that particular study, it wasn't as many dollar stores. The dollar stores provide some food, but it's a lot of packaged food that isn't necessarily the most nutritious food.
Mm-hmm. And not a lot of fresh food and protein and that kind of
what we've learned through this whole past 12 years is that if we don't feed, starting with kids, if we don't feed them while they're young, the right kind of food, nutritious food, what happens is their cognitive skills don't develop, their immune systems don't develop. And what we see in the people that have come to our pantry through the years is 60% of them are diabetic or have some kind of illness. And these are people who've lived in generational poverty. Typically, what happens in the schools is they'll tell you that the first 4 to 6 weeks, when they come back in August or September, whatever that is, that they're kind of reteaching the kids because they haven't retained the information that they had from the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because they didn't live on nutritious food during the summer months. They may have been getting food from a convenience store. I read something a few days ago that really got my attention. The government has what they consider a national emergency. What this is that we have so many people who are not getting the right nutrition as they're growing up. People that are 17 to 24 years old, a lot of them don't qualify for military service because of their health.
Yeah, they're just not healthy enough to
It's
go
like-
through basic training.
That was amazing to see
Mhm.
that because it's not a way that they can continue feeding troops into the service. Like, wow.
Well, you talk about the numbers and how many thousands of people there are now. I think because we lost 11,000 jobs, and a lot of those have come back. Thankfully, the economy is opening back up in Texas, and things are starting to come back. But there are a lot of people who are employed. They still don't make enough money to make ends meet.
And it was like that before COVID.
Sure.
I think the number was somewhere around 36%. And I might be wrong about that number. It could be 43% or a little bit more. But many of the people that we had coming to get food are single parents. High
Sure,
percentage
you
are
think
single
you
parents.
may be a single mom or whatever.
And they have children, and they're working 1 or 2 jobs because they don't make enough in one job. They get second jobs. But the housing costs are so high, childcare costs are so high, it doesn't leave them much wiggle room for anything.
Mhm.
If their car breaks down, all of a sudden they're in chaos.
Medical issues. I mean, any of those kind
Yeah,
of things.
so we saw them on a regular basis just because of, and we didn't look down on anybody. We wanted to help them as much as
Sure.
we could. Yeah.
Well, and you had told me before, about families coming, dads coming that had never, ever asked for assistance of any kind before. And you say those numbers are still growing. I mean, you mentioned 87 new families
Yeah, just one distribution day.
at one time. Okay, so you've got different churches. I mean, you're partnering with churches, right? And
Yes.
they've got parking lots that are good size, and so folks can come. And so these are prepackaged boxes of things, or
It's all food. It's cans of food,
Mhm.
and we'll put 5 cans in a bag because that's as much as we can get in there without breaking the bag.
Mhm.
So there'll be 10 different cans of food. We'll have all the staple items in another bag, and everything's in a bag. So that what we'll have, if you can imagine this, a row of they're big boxes on a pallet that are called Gaylords. Okay, they're the size of a pallet, great big boxes, and so we fill these things up with those. We've got enough food that we figured it out. We can do 225 families per distribution. That's how much the truck will hold.
yeah, you got a big box truck.
Yeah.
And some of the locations are, let's see, Pleasant Olive, Missionary Baptist Church, Maranatha in Belmead on Asselman, and Christ the King on Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah.
Greater Zion, La Ministerios, Antioch on Waco Drive, Zion Hill Baptist Church, Bible Way Church, St. John's Missionary Baptist Church. So quite a few.
And they're all over the city.
They're all over the city, and of course, several of them in North Waco, but East Waco, all over these areas that have been designated as food deserts.
Yes. And if you were to drive to where those churches are, and you'll see there aren't any stores
Well,
around
of course,
there.
I remember Fiesta there at 25th.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And Bosque over in there. That was a thriving grocery store, but it's closed. I mean, a lot of those grocery stores, when I was a kid growing up in Waco, there were stores all over in those areas.
Yeah, and the stores were on the inner city at those times.
Sure.
But they decided to changed their model and they moved because they saw people migrating toward the different areas of the city outside of where we were. And they built these mega stores. And I don't criticize them for that. It's just that we need
it's
something.
It's how things have morphed. And you mentioned your team. I would suspect now that this model has changed with the way you're distributing food, you need even more folks. Do you have several box trucks, or is this one going different days to the different locations, or how does that work?
We just acquired another box truck that
Good.
we're renting. Picked it up today. We're waiting for the artwork for the wrap to put on it so we can wrap it. But yeah, we're going to have 2 box trucks. It's going to take 2. The amount of food that we're going to be able to put out is more than what can fit in one truck. And so some of these occasions, I may be using 2 trucks to take the food there. I may only need 1 to bring whatever is left back, but it's going to take more. And we are always looking for resources to be able to do a better job of what we do. And let me tell you this, a week or 2 weeks ago now, we signed a deal on a building.
Really?
Really.
So where is this? This is going to be more like a warehouse.
It'll be a
thing.
warehouse.
Sure.
Just a distribution center. It won't be a pantry. It's not intended to be a pantry.
Okay.
But we will be moving into it. I'm waiting for the city. And there's a process that you have to go through with COVID now. You have to wait your turn. I'm just waiting for them to call me and say, hey, we're ready to inspect your building. Say yes.
Please do. So that way you can load up the trucks and get them out. But because you've got so many different sites and you've got a pretty set schedule, how can folks access the information on when you'll be distributing at these different parking lots?
We are passing out, even as we speak, we are passing out information to everybody that comes to the pantry. And on that, there's a QR code.
Yeah, that funny looking little
and they
blob
can just,
that's in a square form.
Yeah, you scan that with your phone, and it takes you right to our website. And on our website, we have all of the schedules for every month for the remainder of the year.
Start your wellness journey at Whole Foods Market, where it's Jumpstart January through the 16th. Stock up on supplements with some of the year's biggest savings. Plus, save on air-chilled organic boneless skinless chicken breasts, organic Honeycrisp apples, organic large Hass avocados, and more. And since Whole Foods Market is the only certified organic national grocer, it's easy to make them your wellness destination. Jumpstart your January now at Whole Foods Market.
This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. In breaking news, leading scientists worldwide are conducting experiments to determine if Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolate. However, it appears the study was inconclusive, as the scientists couldn't help but eat all the Reese's. Because when you want something sweet, you can't do better than Reese's. Find Reese's now at a store near you.
Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
So you can find out exactly where you're going to be. Since these mobile distributions are weeks 1 through 4 of each month. So if there's an extra week, you're just taking that off, or how?
It'll show up on the schedule.
Okay.
That what we'll be doing, because in some cases, it happens to us every once in a while. There's 4 times a year. Every quarter, there's a fifth week.
Week, yeah.
And it's never a full week. It's a partial week,
right?
Most of the time, but. And I've highlighted those days in red that says there won't be a distribution on this day. But there's some places where we can find a way to manipulate one of those weeks into the next month. And there's a couple of those that are like that. the first day of the month or something like that. It's actually part of the following month.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've got, as I said, you've got an amazing team of folks who have been on board with you on this, but you have a need for volunteers. So how can people
Always.
volunteer?
Just contact us. We've got some of our volunteers that are regular volunteers. They know, and as soon as we are able to move into our new building, it'll be a much better place for them to work. Everything will be. We've got 3 assembly lines set up, okay, and 4 if we need 4. But everything will just be able to just crunch. We'll just make this turn around, and we're going to spend some money going into this building because we need coolers and freezers that we don't have.
Yeah.
And so we're going to spend some heavy duty dollars, but we've got a local vendor that's going to help us with that. We'll have capacity for 20 frozen items, 20 pallets of frozen goods, and we'll have 40 pallets of cooler items. And so
that's big.
We've got some cooler space coming.
So are you going to be closing down the Brookview Hills location?
Eventually, we will be out of there. Yeah. I don't know how long that's going to take.
So you're going to strictly be mobile.
Strictly be mobile. We're going to take it to another level after we get mobilized 100%, and we can get that to settle down because there's, when you try something new and everything doesn't run as smoothly as you wish it would sometimes. And once that gets settled into place and people become comfortable with that, I'm not talking about just our volunteers, but the people that we serve get comfortable with that. One of the things that we were planning to do is create an online order system. I'm already working on that.
Wow.
I thought I would bring that maybe toward the end of the year or next year or something like that. I just don't know. We seem to be moving a little faster than I thought.
Yeah.
And so if I can get that to come together, and once we settle down, and we may bring that along sooner than the end of the year.
Well, I think something that, of course, you mentioned the need for funds and fundraising and donations. And I know a lot of times folks like to bring items to you.
Yeah.
Non-perishable kind of things. But you have on your website how $5 that I could go to the store and buy, as opposed to what you can buy through your system, so much more food.
Yes.
You can.
And we encourage people, if you want to donate, don't go to the store and buy cans of food, because what they spend for $1.35 for a can of food, I can get for 16 to 19 cents. Okay,
because you can buy in bulk, and that's so important. So you have a way for folks to maybe continually donate to your
on our website,
to your ministry.
Yes, we have a donation page on our website, and we have people that are regular givers. People used to write checks. Now they do it all electronically.
Well, you have some amazing sponsors, and I'm proud to say 25 News KXXV is one of them, has been partnering along with you. And Scripps Howard Foundation, our parent company at KXXV, has also been helping out. And, of course, Bird Culture, I mentioned, so many great sponsors. But it's really the kind of thing that if you know there's a need, why not step up and do it? And years ago, you felt that call.
Yes. Well, God kind of just pointed me in this direction.
Did you ever dream
never in my wildest dreams.
You'd be at this stage in your life be heading up something as big as this?
Never in my wildest dreams. I've got an understanding of what poverty is like because I grew up in poverty in Chicago, and I didn't understand why I was different from some of the other kids that I went to school with. I knew there was a difference, but I didn't know I was in poverty. We didn't talk about that, but I do now. But it was one of the things that I made it my mind that when I grow up, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I tell my family, they just kind of laugh at me. I said, okay. That made me dig in a little bit deeper to make sure I was the first one in my family to graduate high school, go to college, and become successful in business. And I'm not saying that to beat myself on the chest. I look back on it now, and that was part of God's plan for me, to go through that so that I would have the ability to not only empathize, but really understand what our clients are going through. That pushed me into, a few years ago, we created an empowerment school. We had to shut that down because of COVID, and that kind of broke my heart. But we're working on ways to get that back together.
Yeah, could it come back?
Yeah.
Mhm.
In fact,
Because
tomorrow
the idea is to break the cycle of poverty.
we got to do that. And we had some successes. It's not like we turned the whole city around yet, but give me a little more time.
Well, that I know Caritas, they do the same type thing, have the same kind of mission issue, and and the point is to try to break that cycle.
Yes.
And certainly to provide better nutrition for these growing bodies.
And that's the
because
important part.
That, I mean, you really explained that beautifully today. Of course, it was the kind of thing that has been several months since we visited before, and I like to end these little visits with a questionnaire similar to the one the late great James Lipton used on Inside the Actor's Studio. So you've answered these questions. I've slept since then. So all your answers will be new to me. So I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite word?
Wow.
So you don't remember either. I love it. Do you have a favorite word?
Let's do it. I mean, that's my attitude. I'm a
phrase. It's a
I
phrase.
can.
Yeah.
I'm an
That's
I can, I will person.
Okay.
If I could put that on a license plate, that would have been on my license plate all my life.
Okay. So what is your least favorite word or phrase, I guess?
I want to say I can't is my
Okay.
least favorite.
Yeah. A lot of people tell me
And
that,
that's because
that defeatism kind of attitude. Yeah.
We face that I can't attitude a lot in what we do.
I bet.
And it's my goal is to show them that, yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can just give them a few baby steps to take and they realize they can, we can take some more steps and they get to start saying, yes, I can.
You bet I can. Well, what turns you on creatively, emotionally, spiritually?
Well, I am a Christian. I'm a Bible reading, not Bible thumping, but Bible reading Christian. Every day I'm in the Word. So what we do, I'm working with people who are Christians mostly, and what I like is the opportunity to be able to work with people and take them to another level. It's not that I'm so smart. I've got the bruises to prove what I know. It's just that I've got a lot more experience than they do. And if I can lead them in a direction that will be beneficial for them, that's what turns me on.
Mm-hmm. So what turns you off creatively or spiritually or emotionally?
I think that what I might want to say is TV.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of TV just because I see a lot of negativity on TV in the commercials and everything. It's like I don't see it as a building up of things. So if it's not building, my nickname was Bob the Builder. And yeah.
So what sound do you love the most?
What sound?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. Never thought about what sound I really like. I like the sound of music.
Yeah.
I enjoy music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what sound do you really not like?
A train right next to where I'm sitting.
Okay. Sounds like you've been next to some tracks at some point or another. What other profession would you have liked to try?
Wow. I don't know. I never really thought about that because what I've done all my life is something that's very natural to me to do.
Mm-hmm. So it's not seem like work.
It doesn't seem like work.
Yeah.
People tell me I'm a workaholic. I said, no, I'm not a workaholic. I just do a lot. I like to stay busy. But I work more than anybody else in my place, but I still don't see myself as a workaholic because I enjoy what we do. We're making a difference in people's life.
No doubt.
When I worked for a living, I wasn't making the impact that I wanted to make. And so I quit my job and I started my own business and became a consultant. Before I did that, I used to take companies and turn them around. I didn't have this big fancy staff. I did most of that before the age of computers.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I had a natural skill to do it. And so I'm using that gift in my own way now. When I started my consulting company, I thought I would be able to find a way to help people. It never occurred to me that I'd be doing what I'm doing now. That
Yeah.
did not occur to me.
Oh, no, I know. Oh, what profession or job do you know you would not want?
Gee, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be a sports announcer or a news announcer.
Right.
They take a lot of heat.
Yeah, no kidding. All right. Yeah. Especially live broadcasting. That has its own fun. So finally, what do you want to hear God say to you when you arrive at those pearly gates?
I'm looking for a well done. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear you did half of what I asked you to do. I want to hear well done.
Oh, Bob Gager, you are just doing such amazing things and exciting new ways to help people. And the half of your story hasn't been told, but I thank you so much for sharing with us about Shepherd's Heart. And how can folks, there's also another store. We didn't get to talk about the
Things
store,
from the Heart?
Things from the Heart, which is there on Bosque
Yes.
at
It's
used to be the
4014.
Fairgate Shopping Center, is right on the corner.
Mhm.
And it's a great place to go for resale items. So.
We help people with whatever they need, and we try and sell the rest, and it helps us use it to buy food.
All right. So
Cover expenses.
your website, how can folks learn more?
They can go to the website. It's www.shepherdsheartpantry.org. And there's a lot of information on our website. It's changing all the time. We've been upgrading it, and we'll do some more upgrading in the next few months. But they can get some background of what we're doing, what we've done, and where we're going.
Really exciting times ahead. Thank you. But it would be great to put you out of business. It'd be wonderful if we could put you out of business.
Yeah, this is the kind of job where you want to work yourself out of business.
Yeah. But
I'm not sure if we're going to do that too soon, but
yeah.
Yeah.
It's there's a need. There's no question there's a need. Well, thank you again, Bob. It's been great.
And thank you so much for having me. I just want to say one more thing that I really got to say thank you to KXXV. You guys have done so much, not just for Shepherd's Heart, but in this community to help people. We really appreciate you.
Well,
guys.
it's a joy and it's an honor to be able to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Central Texas Living is part of the Rogue Media Network family. Be sure to check out their other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate us 5 stars on iTunes and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Living, the podcast.
Hello, and thank you for tuning into KNOW Waco. I am your host, Debbie, here to help you get in the know about Waco. So you may be asking yourself, why am I here? I'm here to be your tour guide through Waco. I'm here to tell you all the goings-on in and around Waco. I'm going to give you the 411 on what's happening, what's going on, and what events you should go to. This is your host, Debbie, signing off. Now that you know, go. Just go, Waco.
You are going on a run.
Are you building a new business while managing a family? Are you tired of trying to balance home and work and everything seems to be coming up short? Then there's a podcast made just for you. Baking Your Business from Scratch is where we create the perfect recipe for building a successful business while managing your home and family with love. Come join us and see for yourself. Are you building